Hello there, my friends. I am enjoying far more now taking a masculine stance in things. And what that actually means is taking personal responsibility and also not being so reactive, not being passive. Masculine energy is actually about being proactive, about being confident. And what does confident actually mean? Well, confidence means with faith. We can't see everything. We can't know the full path. I walk around these grounds in Chatsworth, but each time I discover a new route through, I discover a new path, a new little section. I'll approach the same section from a different angle. It's very, very exciting, but obviously it's very, very uncertain. And this morning I was thinking about Englishness because I feel very English. I am very protective, actually, of my country because I believe that England is the greatest country to ever have lived. I know that there's strong contention from my American cousin counterparts, but we are where English common law came from. We are where fair play came from. We are the rule of law, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, all of this stuff, eons and eons before. And I'm not denigrating America, fantastic experiment, but I'm a principles man, and to me origins matter, which is why I moved back up here. I feel of this earth, I feel of this place. And I used to be really critical and resistant to people tweeting about, oh, you must be obsessed by this. You must learn to be obsessed by that. And I just think, no, you don't want obsession. That's unhealthy. But the thing is, I was being ungenerous, frankly. And I do see the error of my ways in that. But I do see the point that when something inhabits and is all consuming in your being of a sense of place, a sense of belonging, which is a big thing that I actually think that masculinity stems from. It's feeling truly at home. And I didn't really ever feel at home in London. I've always been somebody that has made the best of things. But I chose to come back to my hometown where I spent the majority of my childhood. And it was a decision totally and entirely for me and by me. And I faced a huge amount of resistance. But there was a chap that actually left a comment on a YouTube short of mine. And the short is called Relationships Should Be Real, meaning honesty, right? And you can go and check it out on my channel right here. And he wrote a very, very detailed comment. And what you'll find is that as you start to produce really great content, when you really start to push people's buttons, people will go out of their way, not necessarily to prove you wrong, but to what we call grandstand, to really emphatically make a point that actually proves the opposite point, because his comment was actually about masculine stance and learning to deal with his wife or his girlfriend's, as he described them, emotional storms. And I'm thinking, right, okay, so there's a masculine stance, but there's a storm going on. Now, a storm is not a war, it's not a battle. I grew up watching The Sound of Music. And why does the thunder get so angry? Well, the thunder says something to the lightning, and the lightning answers back. It's not actually... That's the favourite thing song. Because the children are scared by the thunderstorm. But eventually they They take over the whole of Salzburg and they go dancing in curtains. I call them curtains, Americans call them drapes. Let's call the whole thing off. But yes, and having a marvellous time. But it's not a battle. It's a dance where meteoric conditions, whether they are actual weather or whether they are emotional storms, it's meteoric conditions aligning to create a fabulous and wonderful spectacle, if you choose to see it that way. But the issue is that most people will frame things in an adversarial way. They will only see it as a fight. And when you listen to political and cultural and social commentary, that we've got to fight for Britain. No, no. We got to this fucking situation because we were fighting all the time. No salvation in war. Okay? It's funny actually, because I was watching a program, Urban Explorers, exploring various abandoned properties, and there was this beautiful house that had this Latin motto, and I'm ashamed to say I can't remember exactly what it was, but I will link it in the description. But it meant no salvation through war. So don't see it as a war. Don't see you've got to fight for the country. No. You've got to stand up for the country. Boundaries, you see? A teeny tiny shift in framing can yield the most extraordinary results. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over here because it's really nice and quiet. So your stance is everything. Whatever is happening is happening. And we try and control all these things, and that, my friends, that is a fucking war. Trying to control what's going on. No, don't do that. Control yourself. Because believe me, in whatever circumstances are occurring, when you can stand strong and be unflappable, well, people aren't going to create war with you because they're going to see you automatically as stronger. And I've actually noticed this in all of my relationships recently, that I don't allow conflagrations to develop. I don't buy into the stressed or violent language that people use. Oh, I had to do this. No, you didn't. You chose to do it. You wanted to do it, but that didn't mean that you had to. Agency, and people recognize agency. They recognize, oh right, okay, my bullying tactics aren't going to work here. My my need for drama tactics aren't going to work here. And do you know what's beautiful about it? Is that you can actually start to witness things rather than actually have to get involved in them. So don't just look, if you're ill, don't just look at the symptoms. How did you get yourself into that position? You've got to look at the root causes, and people don't want to do that because they'll realise that they started to make all of the wrong decisions in the beginning. They handled it badly. And that's all about breaking the conditioning. We've all got it. We all make stupid, rash decisions. But just because things are a certain way doesn't mean that they always will be. I'm sorry, I'm doing all of this all over the place. But if you're going to complain about that, then you're not really getting the point of the video now, are you? Because I was going to do a stationary video with my tripod, but the thing is, this part of the park is closing very shortly. So adopt a stance where people won't give you any shit. And my friends, I will say it again, the only way that you can actually do that is by being honest with people, acknowledging that people will probably have a wildly different opinion on the situation and choose the conditions that you want.